This is the new 45mm RF lens from Canon. It's small and light, it costs only £480 ink VAT, and it's f1.2. Yes, you heard that right, a Canon RF lens, which is f1.2 and costs under £500. That's pretty remarkable. I don't think there's a comparable lens like this on the market at all. Canon are saying that this has similar optical performance to the older EF 50mm f1.2, but that's always been a significantly more expensive lens. Canon say this is their first f1.2 lens, which they've built for everyone else, not just for the highest level of professional user, and that's pretty exciting. Physically, it's much as you would expect from one of Canon's more affordable lenses. It's lightweight at 346 grams, 78mm long and 75mm wide. It has a big focus ring which feels okay to focus with manually, not amazing, but I've seen worse. It's smooth and it gives you about 180 degrees of focus throw. You do feel the STM motors working though, both from holding the lens and actually the camera grip itself actually. They kind of vibrate a little bit when you're focusing, which isn't particularly nice. And of course there's an autofocus switch, which is the only switch on the lens. There's a control ring though, which is great to see. So you can use that to control your iris, your exposure compensation, or your white balance, or some people actually use it for changing focus modes as well, which works quite well. However you use it, another control dial on your camera is always welcome. The front is a 67mm diameter, which is impressively small considering this is an f1.2 lens. It does have a minimum focus distance of 45cm though, which is a bit less impressive, but I guess it's a compromise that's to be expected, and Canon's 50mm f1.4 and f1.2 are both 40cm, so it's not too far off really. Inside it's made up of 9 lens elements in 7 groups, 9 aperture blades, and uses their super spectra coating to keep flaring and ghosting under control. Let's look a bit closer at image quality. These will be quite simple tests in order to give an indication of performance. We have to remember that the lens is a pre-production one, so it won't have a lot of the in-camera corrections, which are so important nowadays, especially on more affordable lenses. Any tests that you see from anyone now at launch aren't representative of the final image quality that you'll get if you buy the lens. You have to wait for final production models and final camera firmware support for that on any lens nowadays, really, photography wise. That being said, let's start by quickly looking at bokeh. Here's our fairy light wall in the showroom, and if we chuck it out of focus, you can see just how good the bokeh is at f1.2 on this lens. A lovely cat's eye shape and really quite clean considering the price of the lens. There's a bit of double edging going on in places and a little bit of green fringing which might be cleaned up in firmware, but this is far better than I would expect from a lens of this price. Let's now look at some real-world sharpness examples. Here's 2 photos of the same tree, one at f1.2 and the other at f5.6. If we zoom in, apart from the depth of field change, you barely notice any difference in a real-world situation like this. This one is a more challenging situation. Again, f1.2 on the left, f5.6 on the right. If we zoom right in on the monument here, you can see that f5.6 is slightly sharper, but there isn't much difference here in the middle at all. Some chromatic aberration, of course, but again, that might be cleaned up a bit in firmware. Last one, back to the trees, and on this one, I pushed the tree that was in focus further over to one side. And here you can see definitely a difference in sharpness as you'd expect at the edges of your image. Overall though, I am very impressed by how sharp this lens is. For breathing, we did a quick focus pull in the showroom. There is definitely a fair bit of focus breathing. Canon have said that this will work with cameras which support focus breathing compensation though, which is good news. For autofocus, it uses STM motors, so those are a bit louder when autofocusing compared to their higher end systems which use VCM or nano USM technologies. That's the main compromise. STM is very smooth though and well orientated for video work. Just look at this video test as I walk backwards and forwards towards the camera. It tracks me very consistently even at f1.2. And if you look at the blurred background, it's moving very smoothly with no sudden jumps or twitching. Is it their best autofocus technology in the world? No, of course not. But considering the price of this lens, again, It's a compromise that makes sense, and this autofocus is not going to disappoint for most use cases. The only time it might be a problem is that noise for video. So if you're filming lots of movement in a quiet space, or if you have the mic mounted directly onto the camera itself, it might be something you need to keep in mind. So, Canon's first f1.2 lens designed for the more affordable lens market. The 45mm f1.2 might not be perfect, but it punches well above its weight and well above its price tag. The value for money here it's insanely good. This is the kind of lens which will make people who aren't using Canon cameras want to be if they're not already. And I can absolutely see this appealing to the whole spectrum of Canon users, from enthusiasts up to entry level and even high-end professionals if they want something smaller in their kit bag. I've always been partial to a 40 to 45mm focal length, so perhaps I'm a bit biased, but if you haven't already noticed, I'm really impressed with this lens. But what do you think? Is the 45mm f1.2 something which you'd be interested in, or would you stick to the higher end and more professional lenses like the 50mm f1.4 VCM or the 50mm f1.2 perhaps, which is actually incidentally what's filming us for this piece to camera? Let us know in the comments, and if you want to buy one of these for yourself, of course, just head over to Pro AV. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.